All right. And so with that, we are now officially live. So I'm going to go ahead and just quickly share my screen with everybody here tonight. So hopefully in just a second, you will be able to see a very pleasantly purple slide. And here we go. So first off, huge welcome to the Virtual College Exploration for all Pennsylvania students, sponsored by the Pennsylvania Association for College Admission Counseling and StriveScan. Thanks for joining. Just very quick housekeeping before we get started. Please feel free to use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. Your camera and your microphone are off, so our panelists cannot see or hear you. And then just a PACAC plug. This is just one of our many different sessions happening, so please be sure to check out our full schedule at pacac.org. And this presentation is being recorded and it will be available within about a week at that same website, pacac.org. And with that, it is my absolute pleasure to go ahead and turn this over to our presenters tonight.
All right, welcome everybody. My name is Luke Lewis, and as I go ahead and get our quick presentation up here, I just want to introduce everyone who is in the room. So I'll give a brief introduction about myself. I'm an admissions counselor here at Seton Hill, and I primarily work with students from the greater Pittsburgh area. And I will be giving a quick 15-20 minute presentation for you guys, and then we will hear from some of our panelists. So Lanika and Amy Jo, do you guys want to share a little intro?
Absolutely. My name is Lanika Hainsworth. I am the Assistant Director of Admissions at Seton Hill. I've been at Seton Hill close to 6 years. I have primarily the state of New York, also out west and different parts of Pennsylvania. So I started out in the Blair and Cambria counties, all the way over to Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Hi, everyone. I'm Amy Jo. I'm also an admissions counselor at Seton Hill. I'm also an alumni from Seton Hill. I work primarily with territories around Seton Hill, so within the Greensburg area, and then also just kind of branching out into the Latrobe area. So that's that.
All right, and our three panelists, I am actually going to hold off on introducing you guys, or allowing you to introduce yourself, I should say, because we're going to be hearing from you guys in just a little bit here. But just so everyone is aware, we do have Bryce, Donovan, and Lizzie joining us today to share a little bit about their experiences at Seton Hill. So without further ado, I'm going to start our quick presentation here. I do like to show this video because one, it gives you a little bit of an idea of what the campus looks like, but also it shows some of our students in the actual environment on campus. So I will start by playing that for you. And I will find that for you. Technical difficulties, everybody.
When choosing a college, I wanted a school that moved me forward. At Seton Hill University, I'm a part of a welcoming community that celebrates a long history of preparing students to transform the world. With small class sizes and easy access to scholarships and aid, Seton Hill gives me the confidence, skills, and opportunities to take my future into my own hands. Plus, with an award-winning career services center right here on campus, I know I'll be supported, both as a student and after I graduate in whatever path I choose. Are you ready to move forward?
All right. Again, told you that was a pretty quick video just to kind of get an idea of who we are here at Seton Hill from the start. So I will give you guys a brief introduction on who we are here and just a little bit about us, right? So we are in Greensburg, Pennsylvania, about 35 miles east of the city of Pittsburgh, so only about a 45-minute commute. In fact, two of your presenters here today, myself and Amy Jo, actually both live in the city of Pittsburgh and commute every day. So very accessible to our students. With that said, I'll get into a little bit about what Greensburg has to offer, but Greensburg in itself is also a city, and it has a downtown area with lots of different good things for our students to engage in. Again, I will talk briefly on this and we'll let our panelists share a little bit more closely on what those offerings are. But to get an idea of who we are, right, we're about 2,000 students here on campus. That means we're a pretty small environment. Our student to faculty ratio is 14:1. So our classroom sizes are typically anywhere from 15 to 25 students. You may see a class that goes up to 30 or 35, but generally speaking, a pretty small environment. And again, I'll allow our panelists to share a little bit more in detail about what that really means for them. But from my experience, that means you're going to know your professors pretty well, and you're going to have them as a resource both to do well academically in the classroom, but also as a lifelong resource, right? They're going to be the people who are helping you find internships, find research projects, and ultimately find a job, right? They're going to help you build that resume. We were founded by the Sisters of Charity. I'm not a big statistician on, sharing dates and everything like that, but we were founded in 1885. So the point of saying that is that we have been around for quite a while, and you'll see in some of our photos and different clips throughout this presentation that we have a lot of older architecture on campus. In fact, we're actually up on a hill, so there's about 200 wooded acres around us. So it is a very private area. We do have a very cool drone video that we're going to end up showing you guys here shortly. So, but just to give you a general idea of really who we are. So. Moving forward, we will hear a little bit more specifics about programs, and if any of you have any, relative questions to any of those specific programs, we can answer those as well. But we have 5 major schools here at Seton Hill: the School of Natural and Health Sciences, which does house our Daniel Woolkich School of Nursing. We have our School of Visual and Performing Arts, the School of Humanities, School of Business, and then the School of Education and Applied Social Sciences. So again, our panelists will be able to share a little bit about their experiences in those specific schools, but generally speaking, there are 80 plus different programs and majors within those schools. So a lot of options to choose from. Some of the big ones are physician assistant program, to nursing, to anything in the visual and performing arts, to criminal justice, to our business, right? There are a lot of different options that our students like to engage in. The other thing I'll mention on this slide is that we are a liberal arts university. So what that would mean for you is, say you chose business as your major, you're still going to have taken a science class. You're going to probably take an artistic expression. Those are part of the liberal arts core. Now, the cool thing about those is you actually have some flexibility in what you take. So it's not like you come in as a business student and you are told you have to take biology. I actually graduated from Seton Hill. I was a business student. I hate biology. I did not want to do that at all. So a cool offering is that you can choose whatever you want, right? We have a class called Nutrition for Life. That's what I took to fulfill the science requirement, where we did a cooking lab and learned the science breakdown of the food we were eating. So you really do have some flexibility in the options of those courses to fulfill the liberal arts requirements, which is a really cool factor about that program. Moving on, we do have a full listing of all of our rankings and awards on our website if you ever wanted to check that out. But I'd like to show a few of them here. And then a big one is we are an Apple Distinguished Campus. What that means for you is you're actually going to receive a MacBook Air whenever you first come to Seton Hill, and that is yours to keep. It puts everyone on the same platform. It eliminates the worry of having to buy one of those before you enter college. So that is a very, very nice perk. I'm also a little bit jealous because whenever I first came to Seton Hill, I got the older edition, which still it works fine. I'm currently using it right now, but now there's the space gray ones that I'm sure that Lizzie, Bryce, and Donovan are probably not reaping the benefits of because they're a little bit older. The newer students are getting those now. So you guys would probably end up with those as you come in. But living on campus, right? We are a relatively smaller campus, but have a lot of places to live. So we have 8 different residence halls that vary from singles, doubles, triples, quads. There's suite style living. There's a lot of different options to choose from. You can kind of see showcased here 2 of our different residence halls. So you're seeing our Sisters of Charity residence hall, along with Farrow Hall here on the bottom. So those are both suite style livings, but there's a lot of different things to choose from. Our panelists will share a little bit about what it's like to live on campus later on, so I won't go into too much detail with that. A couple other things, we do have a fitness center here on campus. So that is available to our students. It's McKenna Fitness Center. There is different classes that they offer, whether it's Zumba, yoga. I believe they had some form of karate in the past too, to cardio equipment, to free weights. The cool piece about this, and we have the blessing of having 2 current athletes with us today, but the athletes actually get to use their own separate field house. So this McKenna Fitness Center is usually pretty open for anyone. There's not really an overcrowding, space of teams being in that fitness center. So it is kind of a nice benefit there. Again, the tech-friendly campus, that really just means that we are, with us being an Apple Distinguished Campus, we have a lot of benefits with our Solution Center, with campus-wide Wi-Fi. So all of the folks in our Solution Center are all Apple certified technicians. So you have a lot of benefits of making sure that you're staying up to date with your technology, and that if you ever did run into an issue, you'd be able to get it resolved pretty quickly. Barnes & Noble bookstore. So our main bookstore on campus is actually run through Barnes & Noble. A couple of cool benefits about that are, 1, you can get some pretty cool apparel in there. They have Under Armour gear and a lot of different cool things to purchase. But also, we do rent out textbooks. So it works directly through Barnes & Noble where you can rent out textbooks right there. 4 different dining locations. The big one we're going to talk about, and again, we'll hear more later on here, but is Low Dining Hall. It's been recently renovated, so there are a lot more options for students to choose from. I will leave our panelists up to talk about those a little bit later on, but there are essentially 4 different places for our students to go and grab a bite to eat on campus. Fresh food grown on campus. That is a really cool piece that I like to add in a lot, just because we have that 200 acres, we put it to use. So our director of dining services, Darren, he's a wonderful human being. I'm sure everyone else is probably smiling when they hear the name Darren right now, but essentially he coordinates gardens on campus where students can volunteer and help grow some of the food that's actually eventually going to be used in the dining hall. So just a cool little fact that we like to throw in there. Things to do on and off the hill. So I won't go into too much detail because I want to hear more from a student perspective on these, these subjects here. But to give you guys an idea, we offer over 50 plus different clubs and organizations. We have academic clubs to just off the wall random clubs like the Pokemon Club, the Hogwarts Club, Holy Cannoli Club. There are some really, really fun ones out there. The Mediasphere Gaming Lab, it's a place on campus where if you ever catch a rainy day, and you want to find something to do, you can go into the Mediasphere where they have massive TVs and pretty much all of the gaming systems you can think of, and just spend some time with some friends. I will talk a little bit about sports here. And again, we do have 2 athletes on with us, but we do have intramural and recreational sports. So if you didn't want to play sports at the Division II level, there are options to still play a sport that you played in high school, or just something you love to do, or maybe you just want to stay active. They have anything from kickball to soccer to basketball to volleyball, a lot of different things to get involved in just to keep active while you're on campus. The next tab here, concerts, comedians, movies. So these are just different events that we actually have on campus for our students to have some fun, right? You are in college, you get a degree, but you also want to enjoy it a little bit. So a big thing that I really like to see is movies on the lawn. They have like this big inflatable projection screen that they, host movies on the lawn. That's usually a lot of fun for our students. I mentioned I'd talk a little bit about Greensburg. So Greensburg is a small community, small town. It has lots of local mom and pop restaurants and coffee shops. There's local theaters in the area and lots of good shopping. And then right behind us, right on Route 30, you have your Walmart, your Target, your Chick-fil-A, Chipotle, pretty much all of the big chain restaurants and stores, all right there within a 5-minute drive to you. We also have Westmoreland Mall, so lots of shopping around in the area. And then again, Pittsburgh is just less than an hour away. Again, typically takes me about 40 minutes or so to get there. Takes Amy Jo about 50 minutes or so because she drives a little bit slower. But again, it's nice and accessible for our students there. Oops, I am going way ahead. These buttons are fun. I just wanted to point out one last thing here. I mentioned Pittsburgh is right on that western side of us, but on the eastern side, we have Laurel Highlands. So that's a very mountainous region that has lots of hiking, whitewater rafting, more of a historical district that our students really like to head out into and just get away from the campus for a little while. Now I will move on. So Division II athletics. I'll let Bryce and Donovan share a little bit about these later on here, but we are Division II. We participate in the PSAC conference, which is the Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference, where we have 21 different athletic teams. If you're interested in playing any of our sports here on campus, you can actually fill out the inquiry tab right on our athletics webpage, which we can share with you if we do have any interest. If you wanted to post in that Q&A box, we'd be happy to get that information to you. So mission and service. Obviously, I mentioned that we are a small private Catholic liberal arts university. So the Catholic piece, we are embracing of all faiths. We do offer mass and a lot of different opportunities for our students to get involved, but it is really as much as you want to be involved. So we are embracing of all faiths. And what that means for you is that if you're not Catholic and still want to be a part of the community, we'd love to have you. And in fact, our campus ministry office will still help you find places in the area that if you wanted to find a place to practice your faith or religion, we'll pair that up for you. A really cool piece that I also like to add is the service portion of it, right? We do a lot to give back to the community, to get our students involved, whether it's Habitat for Humanities or just different mission trips. Lots of cool things to do and just stay active and giving back to our community. So the big ones here, and I'll try to start wrapping up here shortly so we can actually hear from the fun ones, our panelists. General admissions requirements. Our application process is super simple. Really, all we're going to need are 3 things. unless we want to do test optional, which I'll cover that in the next slide. So really we need an application. There are 3 ways you can apply. There's a paper application. You can request that if you wanted to do it a little bit more old fashioned and just handwrite it and mail it in to us. We have the same thing on our website and also do have access to the common application. So any of those will work completely fine for us. All of those are actually free. So if we have seniors on with us, you can apply at any point in time now. We are rolling admission. And that typically means once we have all of those 3 requirements, we'll get you a decision usually within 2 weeks. So you hear back pretty quickly from us. For juniors, you can typically apply any point after August 1st is kind of a good time frame to aim for next year. So if you wanted to submit some optional items, this is assuming you, well, where are we going here? This is assuming that you are going to be using test scores. You're welcome to submit an essay and a letter of recommendation still. However, in fact, it's kind of ironic, but those are actually the 2 pieces that we need to supplement your application if you decide to apply test optional. So likewise, still need an application. It's still free. We still will require your transcripts, but to replace those test scores, we just need a letter of recommendation from a teacher or guidance counselor, and then an essay of 200 words or more. So a pretty short essay there on one of the following prompts. So relatively easy prompts there, but we really just want to hear your perspective on things and get to know you a little bit. And that would really replace those test scores for you. Moving on, so financial aid, with us being a private school, we always like to mention how we are very generous in offering our merit scholarships. And while these aren't the only things we offer, they are a pretty big chunk of what students are able to receive. So coming into Seton Hill, everyone is eligible to receive at least $17,000 that we base it off of your GPA and your SAT or ACT. And you have the potential to receive up to $21,000. Now, I'm sure one of the first questions we hear are, if I apply test optional, how can I get that if I don't have those tests to submit? We are evaluating those on a case-by-case basis and are still able to give students one of these merit scholarships. So you won't be left behind just because you weren't able to take the tests. With that said, we do have plenty of other opportunities here at Seton Hill to receive some institutional aid. We have an honors program where you can receive the honors scholarship. We have several different Seton Hill grants. We have community service scholarships, or maybe you're interested in athletics. We are Division II, so athletic scholarships can pop in there as well. The really cool piece is nearly all of these, anything you would get would stack on top of your large merit scholarship there. So it is very helpful for our students coming in. The final 2 slides here. So what's really going to trigger our whole application process to financial aid is really going to be the next step of doing the FAFSA. So that opens on October 1st for us. That website is right there for you. Once you do the FAFSA and add our code, which is going to be right there in that box for you, our financial aid office will essentially be putting together your financial aid package after they have that information and get a financial aid award letter mailed out to you guys. So that way you have a complete breakdown of what to expect for the cost of Seton Hill. And again, just as you see here, once that does come out to you, you will be assigned an admissions counselor. They will follow up with you to make sure that offer makes sense and that you completely understand everything. And if you have questions, we can kind of get that answered for you and then see where we need to go from there. To wrap things up, just a few pointers here, right? Know what's most important to you. You're going to hear from our panelists. You'll get an idea of really what makes up your fit of a school by hearing what makes up their fit of a school and why they chose Seton Hill. Research your schools, ask questions, visit. I know we're virtually right here, but we are offering campus visits right now in person on campus. So you get to see exactly what you're looking at in this photo right here by being there in person and actually stepping 2 feet on campus. And then just decide really what is going to be the best fit for you overall. Now, that's pretty much all I have for my quick, I think it was 18-minute presentation. Now we get to the fun stuff. So we want to hear from our panelists. So at this moment in time, I'm actually going to share my screen still with you guys, just because I want you to see this video. And our panelists, we will go ahead and start. Why don't we start with Bryce and Donovan? If you guys wouldn't mind just giving yourself an introduction, who you are, what your major is, what year you are, what clubs, sports, everything you're involved in, and maybe where you're coming from. And then we'll kind of go from there.
All right. Hi, I'm Donovan. I'm a junior, and I am a business administration entrepreneurial studies major, and I'm also on the men's cross country and track and field team.
And I am Bryce Merrill. I am Donovan's twin brother. I'm a junior in the exercise science major with a clinical concentration. We are from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, so we can understand Luke and Amy's challenges and drives a couple times. coming up here and having to leave is not fun trying to drive through traffic. But oh, I'm also on the cross country and track and field team as well.
He just joined cross country. He's normally on track.
Mm-hmm.
Right on. Cool. Thanks for sharing, guys. And we'll be coming back to you for some questions, especially those relative to athletics, just in case we have any prospective athletes on here. Lizzie, would you mind giving that same rundown for us? Like who you are, where you're from, what your major is, what class you're in, activities, sports, the whole piñata. I don't know if that's a phrase, but let's go with it.
All right, so like Luke said, my name's Lizzie. I'm a junior in the physician assistant program, and I also have 2 minors, one in American Sign Language and one in health sciences. I'm from Laurel Highlands area, so a small town called Berlin, which is like an hour and a half from here. So I'm more familiar with all the woodsy, outdoorsy stuff. Bot school, I'm in the volleyball club, and I play in the pickup soccer club and things like that. I'm also class representative for the class of 2022 and Love Your Melon and things like that. So a little bit of everything.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you all 3 of you for sharing. At this moment in time, we will leave it up for everyone for some questions. Oh, a question came in already. That's interesting. That was the first one. What is the food like on campus? Why don't we hear from all 3 of you guys? Let's hear what some of your favorites are.
All right, if we're in low dining hall, I normally just like, whether it's lunch or dinner, I'm normally at the grill because they have like really good chicken and burgers, and I'm kind of a picky eater, so I normally just head there first. But I try and like venture out most days and see what they have in the mainline. Mainline's normally pretty good from what I hear. So, any thoughts?
I mean, mostly the food. It depends on the day. I believe there's always something different every day. There's always good opportunities to get like a salad in if people want to get salad. Obviously going to the main line to get food depending on what they have, and then the grill. You can get sandwiches made for you. There's a ton of different things to eat. Fruit. There's ice cream sometimes just in case you want to have a sweet with you. Like there's a ton of different things to eat in there.
Yeah, and Lizzie, before you share your portion of this, would you mind giving them a rundown of what actually the options are on campus?
Yeah, so I think we talked about it early in the PowerPoint, but we have the main dining hall, which is low dining hall. So that's going to have a lot of different options like pizza, pasta. There's like a deli sandwich line as well as what Donovan and Bryce were saying, the grill and the main line. And we also have the Cove. That's more of like a Sheetz, a Wawa, Circle K, wherever you guys are from, if you're familiar with any of those. More of like a made to order. And they also have some grab and go type of things as well. And there's also the Vibe. So that's kind of, it's in one of our science buildings. So it's more of a grab and go type of thing. You can just hurry up and go down there quick before classes, or if you're up late studying one day, you can go down there for a snack. So there's a lot of different options. My personal opinion, my favorite meal on campus is breakfast, especially like the brunches on the weekends. We have brunches Saturdays and Sundays. So that's like my favorite time because not only is there breakfast, which is my favorite meal of the day, but there's also lunch. So it's like the best of both worlds. But yeah, lots of options, really good food. You won't go hungry, that's for sure.
That's true. I agree with breakfast because during the actual like school week, they have like you can make to order like omelets and stuff in the low dining hall, which is probably my favorite meal on campus, for being honest. So
Awesome. Thanks, guys. It looks like we have another question that popped up. So can you give us one of your top reasons why you chose Seton Hill?
So I can go first. Like I said earlier, I'm in the PA program, so that was probably one of my top reasons why I came here, but also because when I first visited, it was like I was a student here, even though I wasn't. Like everyone wanted to know who I was. They were really interested and like were really personable. It was like they were my family, even though like I just met them. It was really weird. It was like I fit in, and yeah, it was like an instant fit for me.
I'll have to agree with Lizzie on that. The family kind of atmosphere we do have here at Seton Hill was a big reason for me. Just being from a small school, even in high school, having that close interaction with other students, either older than me or younger than me, it was a really nice thing to have. So I was happy when I noticed it up here. Um, Being that person with people is something pretty nice to have, because if you were to go to a school, say like Pittsburgh, for example, they have a bigger number than we do for sure. You wouldn't have as much of an interaction with everybody in your own classes, in your own dorm halls. It's just not the same.
I agree with these two. Like, I know for me personally, it was just like, okay, he's my twin. I was going to go wherever he was going to go, and lucked out that they had both our majors here, and I could still run and do what I like to do while just like being at like a smaller school. And it's only 45 minutes away, so I'm not too far from home, and I can still be home when I need to. So it just kind of hit all the boxes for me.
It looks like we have a question popping up in the chat that kind of ties to why you chose Seton Hill, but really, what are your favorite things about Seton Hill? Is it a certain tradition or a certain event that goes on?
I would have to say, for me, what my favorite things would have to be, especially like traditions, would have to be homecoming weekend. But for this year, because of COVID, we had Crimson and Gold days. I think that was pretty good for me. Just having that sense of having a week to almost enjoy ourselves at the whole campus and celebrate what's going on for our campus and what we're going to have in the future with new students coming in and out all the time. I think that's probably one of my favorite traditions.
I don't think I have like a really big like favorite tradition. I think it's more just like the people. Like if it wasn't the same, I probably wouldn't have as much fun. But I think just being around everybody just makes me always have a good time when I'm up here. So
I have to agree with Donovan. I really like the people here as well. And I really like a tradition that we have during Christmas. It's Christmas on the Hill. It's kind of like a formal dance type of thing, like a snowball. You just like all dress up, take pictures, you eat a good meal. It's really cool because like normally in college you just like sweatpants and leggings are like the way to go. And then the one day you can just all dress up and actually look nice together is really nice. Yeah, so that's probably my favorite.
Cool. Thanks for sharing, guys. Now, again, if you guys have any we have another question. Cool. So let's see what it says here. Clubs. Okay, so you all mentioned you're in clubs. Can you talk to me a little bit about those clubs that you're involved in and what you do? Lizzie, you mentioned something about volleyball.
Yeah, so I'm in volleyball club. We have it 2 days a week, and anybody's welcome. You don't have to have any experience. I played in high school, so it's kind of I started going to volleyball club in my freshman year, so it was a nice way to meet new people, kind of get used to like the whole college thing, other than just like the classes and the academic side of things. So yeah, volleyball club, pick up soccer. So like Luke said, if you just want to stay active, you can do that. I'm not an athlete by any means, but it's a nice way to stay active.
For me, club-wise, I am a member of my majors club in exercise science. We have our own club. I kind of help out with ideas and stuff for certain events that we want to do for fundraising, so that we have money to use for our major to get us gear and stuff that we want, try to do certain trips that we would like to do. Throughout the year, we normally go to big conferences during the year to try to understand what's going on in the world today of exercise science and how we can help with that. Other clubs, for me personally, kind of just sports. Part of the track and field and cross country team, so pretty not too bad. There's a lot of different clubs though, as Luke set up here. A lot of enjoyable ones to have.
So I'm not currently part of any clubs anymore, but before this year, I was part of, I think, 2 or 3. One of them was FCA, which is like Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and that one was pretty eye-opening for me. I got into that one my freshman year, and it's just like a bunch of people, like whether you're athletes or not, but um, it's sort of like a faith-based thing, and you guys just get together, and sometimes we'll have Bible study, we'll have just like big meetings, we'll just talk about like what's going on with each other, just to figure out like how everyone's doing with their faith and how they're doing as people, which was helpful because like sometimes I would go to mass at Seton Hill, which is another big thing that I enjoy is going to mass. But if I couldn't go to mass, I'll at least try and go to FCA on Tuesdays and just be able to just be in that presence and just like figure out what's going on with me. Another one was the accounting society. I was the treasurer for that up until this year. Accounting society basically just gets all of like the accounting and business majors together into a big group, and we try and do as many events as we can. A lot of them, like Bryce said, are a bunch of conferences to see like how our accounting program is compared to like other schools that are around it, and then just like further on help people because I know with accounting majors they also have to take the CPA exam after undergrad, so it kind of preps them for that. And me being an accounting minor, I'm trying to still prepare myself to do that as well after school. So just kind of get yourself out there, and the clubs, there's endless of them. Like you can find something for literally anything. Like the mission counselors have said, like you can find them for any major, for any literally any passion you have. So
It looks like we have a good question coming in. What can you explain how the classes are, the class environment, maybe the professors, the kind of class sizes that you guys usually run into on the Hill?
my favorite one. Okay, so classes. Classes are like the biggest class I have is like 33 people, which I think is like big, but granted, I'm from like a small school, so like I'm not used to being in a class that big. I think my smallest class is like 12 people. So it does get pretty like one-on-one with the professor. And that's the part that I like the most. Like, I like to learn a lot just because like I like to do stuff even outside of class. And being able to do like that one-on-one interaction just like helps further my like brain just to like think more. And I think it just like helps me as a person work better a little bit. Also, you get close, like if you have group work, you get really close with those people, and it just makes it go a little bit smoother. Than if you're in like a big class, being in a group, they'd be like, it wouldn't really be the same. It wouldn't be as smooth. You guys probably, it'd be a little bit more organized if it was a little bit smaller. So,
Yeah, I would have to agree with Donovan. I think for me, class environment is a big thing. Having, I would say we have different fluctuations in the amount of class sizes depending on what you have. I know for normal lectures, you can have between 20 to 30 people sometimes, but then you go into a lab that I know both me and Lucy have had gone through for a while. We had labs where we would sometimes maybe have 10 people, but then go to another one, you have 30 in that one room. So it all depends on the sizes of them, and then honestly how you study and work is the big thing, because if you're able to go one-on-one with the professor and retain all that information, you will have a good chance of getting through that class and getting into the next classes that you want to take your next semester or even semesters here at Seton Hill. And most of the time classes are pretty good. Some can be pretty fun, some can be
intense.
pretty intense or not as much intense. It all depends on classes you're taking.
Yeah, so similar to what Donovan and Bryce said, most of my classes have been from like anywhere from like 9 to 25, 30 people. I know some of my larger classes were classes that I had to take with all of the physician assistant students in my year. So we all had to take chemistry and we all had to take organic chemistry together. But even though they were large classes, the professor that I had was amazing. I probably went to his office hours like every day of the week that whole year. So that's kind of insane to think about. But along with what Donovan and Bryce were saying, the professors here, I can honestly say that I've never had like a bad professor. They're all super wanting you to succeed. They all want to know how you're doing. So if you're not in class one day, they're going to be like, hey, Lizzie, like, are you okay? Like, I saw that you weren't in class today. Like, are you feeling okay? Things like that. Personally, like I said, with organic chemistry, he was my freshman organic chemistry lab or organic chemistry teacher. And you always have that negative like stereotype about organic chemistry. Like, oh my gosh, I failed it like 4 times. But honestly, it's my favorite class to this day still because of the professor. And I still like email him on like a weekly basis because he was awesome. So I don't know. I have no bad things to say about the professors here or the classes. So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. You guys are asking really awesome questions, so keep them coming. The next question is, what kind of jobs are available on campus? Do you guys have any kind of work study positions?
There are a ton of jobs on campus and work study positions to have. I know both myself and Donovan, we work in the admissions office with our work study, Ms. Kokoska, and she's one of the best, hands down. We and I don't forget the guidance counselors as well, because they are also the best. But we send out all the mailings and stuff that we need to do for high school students just like yourself. Going through this process, we know how tough it is trying to select one singular school when you look at it and you apply to 45 of them. And it can be a stressful time, so we try to make it not as stressful by sending you guys some good information and just trying to be there for you guys to hopefully one day come to Seton Hill.
There's also some, like, I know one of my roommates was trying to apply for a work study position in his major. Like, there's a ton of tutoring positions that actually qualify for work study. And I know those are a good way just to like get your foot in the door with the professors as well, just so you have that like basis of a relationship with them. And then there's countless of them in athletics. I know that because you can have a work study to be a student athletic trainer. Before Bryce and I selected the one that we are doing now, he was looking at that one. Also, just like working with some of the teams, like as a game manager or a team manager, those are work study positions that are offered through Seton Hill as well. And I think some of those are honestly quite cool and pretty helpful because there's a lot that goes on with athletics on the daily. So it's just very helpful.
Like Donovan said, I'm actually a tutor for 3 classes: anatomy, biochemistry, and organic chemistry. So that's a nice option if you're able to do that. And I don't know if Griffin guides our work study. The admissions counselors might have something to say about that. But if it is, that's a nice option too. I just give tours to prospective students. So if you come for a visit, hit me up at Tuesdays at 12 o'clock. I can give you a tour. But yeah, there's lots of options for anyone, anything, even with the like visual arts and performing arts centers. Sometimes they have work studies down there too.
Yeah, those are great responses. Guys, we have just a little over 5 minutes left. And as you guys were answering those, we had a ton of questions come in. So I'll give you 2 questions at once. And if you can try to answer them, not too quickly, but just a little bit at a faster pace. And then those questions that we didn't get answered, we will make sure we follow up with you, okay? So the last 2 questions here were, can you tell us a little bit about Greensburg? What's around? And then what's this next question here? Roommates, how does that pairing process work? So can you guys tell us a little bit about how the roommate pairing process works? And I guess we have 2 twins here, so you guys probably just nice and simple. So maybe this one comes from Lizzie, but if you guys don't mind quickly answering those, and then we'll close out the session for everyone.
Yeah, for the first one about Greensburg in general, Greensburg is a very nice community. For me personally, as a Pittsburgh resident, it's a little bit smaller than what I'm used to, but it's not too bad. Very welcoming and very diverse, but I would say your typical city right outside of the campus kind of feeling. Very some days sometimes very slow. You see many of different people, and there's many of different things to do. As Luke said, you know, you have your top chain restaurants and stuff right outside the city. You have mom and pop shops in the city, and just a bunch of different things to do and places to go. One would be the Westmoreland Mall, that is not too far from campus. Another would be how we talked about Laurel Highlands, going rafting and stuff, hiking, tons of different things to do. So Greensburg's pretty nice.
Yeah, I think Greensburg, kind of piggyback off what Bryce said, being that I'm from Pittsburgh, I think Greensburg's literally just a smaller version of Pittsburgh, just not as loud, which I think is probably my favorite thing about Greensburg, is that it can be quiet, and when it's quiet, it's so peaceful out here. Like, you think you're in kind of a big city, but at the same time, it's really small, and you get to know a lot of people in the community. Like, I know when we go on runs for practice, there's people that we'll just like randomly see in the city as we're running by, and they'll say, "Good job, guys!" Like, "Hi, guys!" Like they know us. Like, it's very like small and kind of homey, and that's probably my favorite part about Greensburg, that it's just very small.
Yeah, so I guess I'll answer the roommate question because Bryce and Donovan already answered the Greensburg question. So for my roommate process, I actually met my roommate with the PA interview. So you have to interview to get into the PA program, and we just happened to really hit it off. So we've been roommates since freshman year of college. But say you're not a PA and you don't have to interview, there are other options. You can fill out like a survey or like a questionnaire. If you're like an early bird or a night owl, you can put that. Or if you like to stay clean or organized, or you just like to have your room really messy, whatever, they can just match you up with people that are really similar to you, and just works out. You can pick which residence hall you're in and things like that. So yeah, so if you're a PA, look for someone in the interview, because that's always nice. But yeah.
Awesome. You guys have killed it. I can imagine if I were in, these students' shoes, you're definitely giving them some great advice here. With that said, we have about 3 minutes left. So I am actually going to ask you guys a quick favor. And would you just give them a 15-second spiel on the best advice you can give them if being in their shoes? And then we'll close things out for the night.
I would say keep your eyes open, probably, because like when you first get on campus, it's gonna depends on how you are, but it can give you a certain vibe. And I know when I got in here, like the vibe was kind of just like, it's very chill, but at the same time it's like it looks kind of old a little bit, and like the buildings are kind of old. I get that, but once you get past that, it's really nice up there. So I would just say like keep your eyes open. Like, I know one of my roommates, his sister came to visit, and she was like, it looks kind of old. I was just like, just look past it a little bit, and then you'll see it. Like, you just gotta look at the deeper meaning of it.
I will say one thing for especially seniors, don't let the stress get to you when you're trying to pick certain schools, and you don't always have to pick the first school. It is not like the first one's not always going to be your like number one. It's not going to be the best. There's no issue with having to look at other schools, especially smaller schools, just like Seton Hill. Trying to get a different perspective from schools and trying to see the differences is a really nice thing to do. Really makes the process of applying and trying to pick schools a lot easier. So definitely keep your eyes open, as Donovan said, and keep a good perspective. So.
And Lizzie, the best advice you can give in 15 seconds. Go.
Mine would be just to like take a deep breath, a huge deep breath. It's a really stressful time right now, and I would just say just being able to breathe and to be able to enjoy where you're at right now. But also when you do pick that next school, just don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. Just get out of your box. That's all.
Right on. Thank you guys so much. Let's all thank Bryce, Donovan, and Lizzie for taking some time out of their busy afternoons and evenings of studying to share a little bit about Seton Hill. And with that, we are under 30 seconds left. So it was a pleasure speaking with you guys. I'm sure Amy, Joe, and Lanika both are very thankful for spending some time with you guys as well. So we look forward to having you on the Hill, and take care. Have a good evening, everyone.
All right. So first off, amazing timing. Thank you so much. And second off, that was a great presentation and fantastic questions coming in. So thank you really to everyone who is participating tonight. So I'm just going to wrap us up with a final quick slide. And, of course, the official PACAC, thank you for joining us. When you close this window, there will be a link to a very quick 4-question survey. And we do really appreciate any feedback that you can provide. As I said at the beginning, this is just one of our many sessions being hosted, and we would love to see you back for any additional sessions. Please feel free to sign up at pacac.org, pacac.org. And in about a week, you'll be able to find this session's recordings, as well as all of our other sessions recordings at pacac.org. And with that, thank you guys so much, and hey, have a great night.